Hey, left, right, out. It's another day, another crazy world. The markets were up today. The yield's back up, solidly in the two threes. I think it was 236. You can see some of that money moved from the bond market into the stock market. It appears. What you wonder, like, I don't understand how people are willing to hold on to stocks going into so much risk. I mean, geopolitical risk, economic risk. There's just something beyond anything we've encountered in this country since like World War II, to be totally honest. But every time I get a cough, some of the things that popped in my head recently. So I was thinking about the Ukraine-Russia thing, and I was like, well, what we're in there, delivering weapon systems, egging on this crisis in a sense, kind of putting a carrot out there for Zelensky that he's going to be part of NATO or some kind of weird agreement, right? When in a sense, at this point, where initially, if Biden really wanted to make his claim to fame or whatnot, or just do the right thing to end this conflict, he would have called upon a ceasefire himself as the United States and had or some kind of conference where they hashed out, some kind of agreement. And to me, what's reasonable, looking historically and looking at from a Russian perspective, which we can go into that, I would be willing to just give Luhansk and Donetsk independence, allow Russia to hold Crimea. Crimea voted there's always a naval base there, and then the populace voted to become part of Russia, and the Russians moved in. So you might as well just give that up in order to, one, save lives and have some territorial integrity of Ukraine. Also, let's give up the whole NATO membership thing. And if Biden could have brokered a peace deal like that, but that begs the question: why hasn't he at least attempted to? Like Macron and some of these other Erdogan, who's not the greatest person in the world either. These guys have been trying to talk with him, and the Israeli Prime Minister, I believe, so as well. And why Biden hasn't tried to do anything of the nature is beyond me as a supposed statesman. Besides the fact that I think maybe the Russians wouldn't give him time of day because I think they know the corruption that has gone on with this administration, or just with the Bidens in general throughout his tenure as a senator and a vice president and now a president, which I don't even know the corruptibility of him at this point, at this age. I think this is all his past, catching up with them. But another thing that came out, Russia is claiming, and I've seen this, but it also you got to take with a grain of salt, because it seems they didn't provide any documents this time on it, but I have seen it in other releases, not from them, but from contracts, from actual government documents that I've posted before. The fact that Hunter Biden's kind of tied in with some of these biolabs through companies, not him, like he's not over there like working with pipettes or anything, just companies that have contracts that facilitate certain things with regards to them. And one of the Russian generals came out tying him and his consortium of company, or it's kind of a investment company, and Myobiota, I believe, is the other one that's tied to him. And I was like, well, I've heard that, but I don't know what the Russians are trying to get out of this right now, if they got something else on them, which I'm leaning towards, that's obviously been proven that these labs and that there is these contracts with these companies that do have ties. So, I mean, that's truth, but some of this report that I was reading from them, it could be just propaganda. You have to take it with a grain of salt, a little bit. So you got to have some skepticism, even with with regards to the way the Russians are reporting certain things. But we know that he's involved in various machinations, all kinds of weirdness in those countries, in particular Ukraine, Russia, and China. And we can keep bringing up the whole Burisma thing, but we're at that understanding that it's been recognized that is the laptop and the things that are on there are real, and that the corruption is real, and we're at the point where somebody needs to be held accountable, which we haven't been holding any of these officials accountable, at least if they're on one side of the aisle. If you're like a Michael Flynn, you trip up on a word and you're going to prison. Or if you're it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with these people. We should stand by the rule of law and justice. And it seems like one side of a political agenda, and it doesn't even have to have a D on its name. You can have an R or whatever the case may be. You just have a certain persuasion or pushing for a certain agenda. It seems like you get off scot-free no matter what you do. Other news, it looks like Trump's going to sue Hillary Clinton. That's interesting because I'm tying that in with the same deal we're here because it's political corruption. Them making up essentially the whole Russiagate thing. Now, let's go back to what I was just talking about, the negotiations, and one of the reasons maybe the Russians don't give Biden any kind of credence. Look at it from their perspective over the last so many years. One, the media over here is in a constant state of portraying you as villains, right? And that's gone on for years through movies or whatnot. But in particular, in recent times, since let's say 2016, or because I think Romney brought him up as an attempt to bring up. I mean, he was lambasted over that. But anyway, 2016, they were accused of being involved in the election. Then they were accused of being in league with Trump. And if you're sitting here and you know all this stuff about the people that are accusing Trump and the like of being involved with them, and you know you're not involved with them, but you've been involved with the other side who's accusing you, but now that side's in charge now, and they are lambasting you with all kinds of accusations, and you know that you've been involved with him. It's so convoluted, and yet they're using you as some kind of pariah. Just look at it from their perspective, from that the government anyway. Now also look at it from the Russian people's perspective. They look at us and they see us. We can't even define what a woman is, apparently. We have men winning women's competitions. We have drag queens having story time in elementary school. We are willing to chop wieners off 5-year-olds. And these people over there don't want that. They are, not necessarily a free society over there. They're a status-run society. But at the same time, their government's really pushed more towards traditional values. Now, that's not to say that they're, like I said, they're more of a status, and I'm obviously a libertarian, a free market, natural law type person. And I don't agree with the way that government's run. The fact that their opposition leader is now, he's been a president, his sentence was extended, that seems kind of farcical. But you can understand the Russian populace, the people wanting not to have anything to do with the West anymore. You can understand Putin and the government's inclination not to believe us because of the corruption that they've seen or witnessed, whatever, through themselves, and also that degradation of our own society and militarization of the world in a sense. So you got to look at it from their perspective a little bit, and it is paramount to understand both sides of things if you're going to truly understand it. It seems as though we can't do that anymore in America, especially. You are just told what to think. Anybody that has that ascertains another thought that might be contrary to even their own opinion is within themselves a sympathizer of some sort to the opposition. And if you do that publicly, then you're obviously a stooge and you've been paid off and you are working for some other whatever so-called entity that the populace or the media is declared as persona non grata. But there was a time, and it is paramount in any free society, that you are able to look, or it's just paramount in the ability to win, if you want to put it into those dynamics, militarily, culturally, society, whatever, just to go forth, to understand another perspective, or to really ascertain the other side's thoughts. to more better understand them, because maybe you actually have more in common than you don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're all fighting for no reason. But we've lost that in America. People are more than happy just to be told what to say, think, or hear. Or at the very minimum, what I've argued for years is that there are certain boxes, and a narrative can be put forth, and you are allowed to have one of two opinions. And they might actually seem like opposing opinions. And that's why you have like the Fox News in one box that is to control a certain train of thought and allow you to have an acceptable opinion that is contrary to the other side. But you can't think outside those boxes. You can't have any other opinion, otherwise you're some kind of they will lambaste you. I keep using that word in this podcast, but they'll throw you to the wolves in a sense, bloodied, and they'll beat you over. They'll accuse you of all sorts of things if you have a thought that's unique to yourself, or a third opinion. And hence, you look at all the way back to 2008, and I believe that was 2008, Ron Paul's presidential run. You can look at all these things, and you can see how the corporate media really has taken it. But anyway, I wanted to bring those things up, and I'll leave it there for now. There's some, the world is really weird. I guess I'll keep on this media thing. We don't really know at this point what is actually going on over there in Ukraine and Russia. We are just fed this Sean Hannity view that we need to go. Oh, Sean Hannity, that's another thing. The other day, he said that he'd be okay with leveling Moscow. And I was thinking, well, we are, or he is, calling Putin a criminal, saying he's killing civilians, which, yeah, they are killing civilians. Not purposely, because if they wanted to purposely, they just go wipe them all out, right? They could easily do something like that. He is strategically doing something militarily, and he doesn't want to destroy the infrastructure, or he has to live with these people, eventually. You can go in that whole, but either way, he's not. But the fact that Sean Hannity would then turn around and say that, hey, it's cool to go and destroy the capital city of Russia, essentially targeting civilians and killing perhaps tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not maybe millions of them. So I always think Sean's a good guy, and then he says he's a big warmonger, though, and I can't get over that. And he seems to be on a certain page of acceptable opinion that is allowed, and he seems to be one of those stooges that is you're allowed to be in the box over there if you're on the right. But anyway, I'll talk to you later. Peace.